And hello, traders. Welcome to this edition of Trading Tech Talk, dedicated to the SuperTrend indicator. I'm sure most of you have been in contact in one way or the other with SuperTrend. It's included in almost every trading platform. It is simple to use, and it is a very popular trend following indicator. And back in the day, when it was designed, it was quite groundbreaking. It was one of the first indicators which would give you clear entry signals. Unlike the RSI or the MACD, where the entries were up for interpretation based on whether the RSI was overbought or oversold, this was not the case with SuperTrend. It gave you clear indications when to enter to the long side or to the short side. And on top of that, it also gave you a clear exit. It came with a built-in trading stop, telling you exactly when to get out of the trade. And moreover, the trading stop was not static. The distance of the stop level was dependent on the market's volatility. If the market was more volatile, the stop was further away. If markets were calm, the stop was tighter, and giving the room less space, or giving the trade less space, getting you out of the trade earlier. And all of this together was groundbreaking at the time. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, this was 20 years ago. Things have changed, and more importantly, technology has changed. Back then, the inventor of SuperTrend didn't have any idea of what was possible with today's trading platforms. Well, this is where we come in. We have created a brand new edition and generation of SuperTrend, which we call SuperTrend Bulls Eye, which takes full advantage of today's computing power. What this means, I will discuss with you in today's Tech Talk. My name is Daniel Sinek, and I will be your host tonight. Before we start, just a quick reminder that if you trade, keep in mind that trading is risky and not suited for everyone. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is defined as capital. Should you lose it, it will not affect your lifestyle. When it comes to hypothetical performance or backtest results, keep in mind that these are not necessarily indicative of future performance. All right, so now that we have this out of the way, let me introduce my team. Today, as always, I am joined by Homer and Nicola. Both will be initially in the chat and answering all your questions. So if you have questions, feel free to send them or write them in the Q&A window of Zoom. And if needed, Homer or Nicola, they will interrupt me and bring these questions to my attention. And together we are Trading Indicators, an online shop dedicated for providing and promoting innovative trading products, ranging from indicators such as SuperTrend Bulls Eye, to automated strategies, dashboards, and trading applications. And with everything we do, we're trying to do it a bit differently to push the boundaries of what is possible with today's computing power. And one such example is SuperTrend Bulls Eye, which really pushes the limit of what is possible nowadays with trading on retail trading platforms. We have clients all over the world, retail traders, trading educators, institutions, and together we're trying to provide trading solutions which will help you to become a better trader, making better trading decisions. And as mentioned, with everything we do, we're trying to do it a bit differently. We have a full team which help us to do this, not just Nicola and Homer, but we have mathematicians on board, we have designers, we have traders, and all together we bring our heads together to create these innovative trading products. Now, having this said, let's get started with the topic at hand, mastering SuperTrend Bulls Eye. Before I get into all these innovative features of SuperTrend Bulls Eye, I'm going to start by reviewing what is the classic SuperTrend indicator. What is it based on? What is the philosophy behind this indicator? Once done, we're going to look at all these new shiny features which we have added to SuperTrend, such as statistics on the chart, optimization, different trading styles, and so forth. We're also going to look at advanced trading concepts, such as how do I find the right symbol to use this indicator on? It doesn't work for all symbols equally well. It doesn't work for all time frames equally well. So how do I know which one to use? How can I scan for these signals? All right. And in the end, we're going to see how you can get hold of our SuperTrend Bulls Eye indicator. All right, but let's get started with what is classic SuperTrend. So the classic SuperTrend indicator, the one you know from TradingView, from Modifway, from TradeStation, all these classic trading platforms, well, it was developed by a French guy called Oliver Seban. And he even wrote a book about this indicator in French back in the day. And translated to English, the title is "What Everybody Deserves to Be Rich." Well, I guess he he lived according to this mantra because he became quite rich trading his own indicator. And the legend at least says that he became a millionaire just a few years after he started trading. And over the years, as I mentioned, SuperTrend, the classic SuperTrend, has been included in most trading platforms and has become one of the most influential trend following indicators. And it primes itself at detecting early trend reversals. And the way this works is by using crystal clear buy and sell entry signals. It comes with a trading stop, which will tell you when to get out of the market. And it is what is called a stop and reverse indicator, which is always in the market. And what this means, we can see on this slide here. So imagine you have an entry signal here, this little green triangle. That's a buy entry signal. Now you enter the trade long at this point, at the close of this candle, and you stay long up until this trailing stop, the green stop underneath for a long trade, is hit. Once the stop is hit, you reverse the position. Not just close it out, you reverse it to the opposite side. So this long trade will become a short trade at this moment, and then you stay short. And you keep staying short until, once again, this red trading stop is hit. That must be hit at the close of the candle. Simply touching it, as you can see here, is not enough. The candle must close below the trading stop. And this continues on and on. So once you're long, you go short. Once the short position is stopped out, you go long again, then short again, and so forth. So you always alternate between long positions and short positions. And you're always in the market. You're basically never flat with this trading philosophy. So buy entry signal, trading stop, sell entry signal, and here's my trading stop to the short side. All right, so this was the philosophy behind this groundbreaking indicator. So trend reversals would occur whenever the trading stop is broken. And the trading stop is not fixed. It's very important to point out. It is based on market's volatility. The more volatile the market, the further the stop is away, giving the trade more room, which makes a lot of sense. If there's lots of volatility, lots of ups and downs in the market, you don't want to get stopped out by little up and down. You want to give your trade more room so it can continue and follow the overarching trend. Now, the trading stop was controlled in the original SuperTrend by two variables: the ATR period. ATR, average true range, is an indicator, another classic out there for measuring volatility. And then there's a multiplier. And how the multiplier was used, it was multiplying the ATR, the calculated ATR. And the bigger the multiplier, the further the stop would be away. And basically, the stop would be the difference between price and whatever the multiplier times the ATR was. And this was the stop level. And the more volatile the market, the higher the ATR, the further away the stop would be. All right, so this is classic SuperTrend. And as I mentioned before, it was great at the time. It was groundbreaking. It was so popular. People were jumping on the bandwagon left and right. And I still truly believe that the foundation of the indicator, the logic how these signals are calculated, is still completely valid in today's time. But today, we have so much more computing power at our hands. This means there's so much more we can do with SuperTrend. Things that were not possible back in the day when this indicator was invented. Examples of this are, for example, we can have different ways of reversing the position. Not just stop on close, which was the original SuperTrend, but perhaps when the trading stop was touched, which comes with a lot of advantages, which I'll tell you in a second. we can show win rates and statistics of how well the indicator is performing for a particular symbol and time frame directly on the chart, leaving no more room for second guessing. We'll just show you on the chart some hard facts, how well the indicator is performing, allowing you as a trader to make a truly informed decision of whether I should trade this indicator or trade the symbol of this indicator or not. We can also add different trading styles to the indicator. So no longer stop and reverse, which is not intrinsic of what SuperTrend means. Perhaps a trading style could be added, which would actually allow us going flat at times instead of being always in the market. And our key feature, one that has only become available just recently, is auto optimization, letting the indicator find the best parameters for you, so you don't have to do it. Doing it manually, I'm telling you, is extremely tedious. It takes forever. And guess what? It needs to be redone whenever you change symbols or change time frames. Nobody will do this. It takes too long. So the indicator must do it for you. And exactly such a feature has now become possible with this generation of SuperTrend, which I will present to you in this presentation. Well, so I hope you're all ready and you're comfortably seated. And let's get started. We're going to start with the reverse on touch reversal policy or reversal mode. Now, before we talk about reverse on touch, let me talk about reverse on close. So what does that mean? So as mentioned previously, SuperTrend's reversal policy is triggered whenever a price closes above the trading stop for a short trade or closes below a trading stop for a long trade. Simply touching it, like here, is not sufficient. The trade will not be closed. This can have several advantages because, you're waiting for extra confirmation. Simply, quickly touching a stop may not be sufficient to reverse the entire position. True, I agree with that. But it also comes with a disadvantage. And the disadvantage is having to wait and see whether price actually closes above the trading stop for a short trade or below the trading stop for a long trade. This cannot be sent to the broker like this. There's no broker in the world which will accept an order which is only triggered at candle's close, like a stop order. Only enforce this order when the candle is closed. This does not exist. So what does this mean? Well, it means that if you want to trade reverse on close, you can only run the strategy locally. You need to manage it locally. You can't send it to the broker to execute it for you. It's impossible. Such an order does not exist. This can be quite a bit of an inconvenience if you don't have the time to manage your trade locally, if you don't have the time to sit in front of your computer 24/7 as long as the trade is open. It would be much more convenient if you could just send the reversal order to your broker ahead of time. While this is not possible with reverse on close, but this is why we have added to SuperTrend a new reversal mode, which we call reverse on touch. What this means is that simply touching the trading stop, look at this candle here. The trading stop is this white line at this level here. This bar, this blue bar, goes below this white line, but doesn't close below it, closes above. While if a reverse on touch is enabled, it means a touch is sufficient to reverse the position. And guess what? Reverse on touch can be submitted to the broker. It's simply a stop order. You define the level. This is my trading stop level. You send this to the broker as your stop loss order, and that's it. The broker will execute it for you. No longer the need to manage the trade locally, which is quite convenient if you don't have the time to do so. This is exactly the reason why we added the reverse on touch mode to SuperTrend. All right, and again, with the advantage that you don't need to monitor your orders manually or locally, you can simply send it to the broker. And how this looks in practice, let's have a look at our trading view slides. I'm going to open up actually ModifWave. I'm going to have different platforms on display today. SuperTrend Bulls Eye indicator exists for several platforms, and ModifWave is one of them. All right, so this is the classic interpretation of SuperTrend. So you can see here, we have a short entry signal, which reverses the previously long position. We're staying short, short, short. Here, price went above the trailing stop. The blue line is the trailing stop, but it didn't close above it. Here again, it almost closed above it, but not quite. Here again, and we stay in the trade. And only at this point here, this candle where the blue signal is, the close of this candle is above this blue line. And that's a close above the trailing stop. And at this point, we reverse our position in the classic mode. We stay long until we close below this trailing stop now, which is below price because it's a long trade. All right, now this is reverse on close, the classic interpretation. Now let me switch over to reverse on touch. And as you can imagine, this whole picture will now change. All right, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to change from reversal policy on close to reversal policy on touch. And as soon as I do this, everything will update. We have way more trades, which is not surprisingly, because now our conditions to reverse are more loose. Because we simply need to touch the trailing stop. We no longer need to close above it. All right, so we have way more trades, but the advantage is now we can submit our closing order ahead of time. We can send it to the broker. For example, if you trade on the daily chart, this is a 5-minute chart, so it may not be applicable, but if you trade on the daily chart, you can submit your stop order when the market closes for the next day, because you already know where the stop loss is. If reverse on touch is enabled, the broker will execute the stop loss level for you. You don't have to worry about it. All right. So this is the big advantage of reverse on touch. Now, the big other question is, well, will this actually give me better trading results? Because at the end of the day, I guess we don't care as much about, well, a bit of an inconvenience of having to monitor a trade locally. We want better trading results. So will this give us better results? Well, we're going to get to the bottom of this question as well on this talk. So stay tuned. All right, so let me go back to my slides. And of course, if you have questions, feel free to write them into the chat. So quickly back to the slides. This was reverse on touch, so our little warm-up feature. Now, let's move on. What is next? Win rates. Wow, wouldn't it be nice to know how well the indicator is working on the chart? I'm sure most of you will agree with me. That would be golden. Typically, it's not easy to see manually. And I'm telling you, it's quite impossible to see whether the sequence will actually give you a profitable trading system at the end of the day. It's hard to see. All right, so how do we know how well the indicator is working on the chart? It's actually a really good question. And I'm telling you, it depends. It depends on a lot of things. First of all, every symbol is different. The indicator may work great on one symbol and horribly on another symbol. Also, every time frame is different. Every chart type is different, and market conditions change over time. So what has worked 5 years ago on a daily chart may not work anymore. What has worked yesterday on a 1-minute chart may not work anymore today. Market conditions change all the time. All right, so how do we know how well the indicator has been working recently? What we can do, perhaps, is to do some guessing. You can see, oh, well, it looks okay, these signals, they seem to make sense to me. But that's up to guesswork. It's not serious. There's no hard facts behind that. We could do a manual analysis. And we could look at every signal that we have, measure out whether it was a winner or a loser and how big the winner was or how big the loser was. And then come up with a conclusion of how well the indicator has worked overall. Yes, we could do this, but I'm telling you, this is extremely tedious because you would have to redo this for every new symbol, every new time frame, and every new chart type. Very tedious. Chances are you will not do it. So we have come up with something which only has become available recently with today's computing power. We came up with a technology where the indicator will tell you right on the chart how well or how badly it is performing. It's honest. It's an honest indicator. Maybe the most honest version of SuperTrend, because it will tell you if it's working or not. And it will change from symbol to symbol and from time frame to time frame. Wow, this is possible now. And how is this possible? Well, it looks like this. We will show you directly on the chart a box like this. It looks always a bit different from platform to platform. This is for Ninja Trader here. This would be for Think or Swim, and this could be the box for TradingView. So you look always a bit differently depending on what the charting platform's capability is of showing such a box. Sometimes it's like a long line like this. Sometimes it's a panel. It depends. But what we show you is always the same thing. We show you the profit factor. If you ever looked into automated strategies and back testing, you may know that the profit factor is a key metric when it comes to evaluating the performance of a trading system. It's a much better metric than, for example, the dollar amount. Simply learning, oh, this strategy made $5,000 doesn't say much, because this is really dependent on the position size. It's fairly easy to make $1,000 or $5,000 if you trade humongous position sizes. It always varies. If you trade less, you will make less money. If you trade more, you may lose or make more money. It's depending on the position size. A much better metric is the profit factor, because it is independent of the position size. As a rule of thumb, the higher the profit factor, the better the trading system is. And one says, or the math says, a profit factor above 1 indicates a profitable trading system. And below 1, it would not be profitable. And the higher, the better. Okay, so here, for example, we can see in the statistics that the profit factor, or whatever chart that was at 1.86. And it was calculated over the last 9 trades, 4 trades to the long side, and 5 trades to the short side. All right. We can also see that with these 9 trades, and we don't know what the time frame that was, you made a tick P&L, like a tick profit of 94 ticks. So just by looking at this, I'm sure this was a very small time frame, which is okay. The average duration of each trade was 49 bars. Now, if you're on the minute time frame, it means that every 50 minutes, every 49 minutes, on average, you would reverse your position. Yeah, you can also see in the statistics box what were the parameters used. In this case, we had a multiplier of 3 and an ATR period of 7 used for this particular instance of SuperTrend Bulls Eye. Yeah. All right, and we can also see the win rate, both for the long side, the short side, and the overall trades. You can see that long trades have worked out much better with a win rate of 75%. Which again may give you some clues as to what the market conditions are. Maybe things just work better to the long side currently. Well, how do you interpret this information as a trader? Well, I think it's quite obvious. Perhaps you only want to take the long trades as suggested by SuperTrend Bulls Eye and ignore the short trades. And you can read this out by simply looking at all these statistics. And these will be calculated for you by the indicator. You don't need to do it by hand. It's right there on the chart. And how this works, I will show you now. So let me switch over to TradingView in this case. I'm going to quickly go to TradingView. And there we go. And I'm going to drag in this chart. Oh, that's the wrong one. This chart here. All right. Just a second. There we go. All right. Okay. So this is a chart of Apple on the 2-minute time frame. All right. And oh, I might apologize. It's actually the wrong one. Sorry. Let me do this again. Here we go. So this is a chart of Bitcoin on the 30-minute, on the daily time frame, as you can see here. And here we have our statistics box directly plotted onto the chart with all the information which I have just explained. Now, the cool thing is, let me go into the settings and observe what is going on here. So here we have a profit factor of 1.55, 13 trades in total, 6 to the long side, 7 to the short side. Average duration of a trade was 75 bars. Okay, now let me go to the settings and make a change. I'm going to change the multiplier, which was at 4, to 3, which basically means I'm going to make my stop tighter. If my stop is tighter, I'd stop out more often. I will take more trades. Whether this is better or worse for my performance, we'll see. So let me change this to 3. As soon as I do this, everything will update instantaneously. So I change it to 3, and now we can see the product factor has decreased. Wow, 1.19, but now we're at 23 trades. Average profitability, well, not too good, and it became worse. And I can see this right away on the chart. No more second guessing. And of course, obviously, because our stop was tighter, I have way more trades taken. So maybe you may think, if this made it worse, perhaps we should increase the multiplier to something bigger. Maybe this makes it better. All right, let's try it out. So back to my settings. Let's change it to 4.5. All right, so I'm changing it to 4.5. Again, it's applied. See, wow, now the profit factor has increased to 2.82. I think that's better than the first one. I forgot what it was, but it looks very profitable. And I'm telling you, on Bitcoin in general, especially on the higher time frames, SuperTrend, even the classic one, works great. Yeah, but now with these statistics, we have some evidence of how good it is working. Yeah. All right, so 4.5, that's pretty good. So let's maybe increase it one more time, maybe from 4.5 to 5. All right, let's see if this makes it better. No, made it worse. Okay, so maybe 4.5 would have been the sweet spot for us for this particular parameter. All right, so at least now we have a way to see how well a particular set of parameters is performing with this statistics box. And guess what? If I change time frames, say I change from the daily chart to 30 minutes, it will update instantaneously too. 2.98 on the 30-minute chart. Let's see on the 5 minutes. No, horribly, 0.21. And I'm telling you, and this basically tells me this configuration, 5 and 20, is not suitable for the lower time frame on Bitcoin. It doesn't perform well, but at least I know. So how do I take this information? Well, I can do 2 things. I can try to change my parameters once again, maybe play around with the multiplier again to see if it improves my performance. Well, it improved it a bit, still below 1, which is not profitable. Or your second conclusion could be, well, maybe I'm not going to use SuperTrend Bulls Eye for Bitcoin on the lower time frame. It's not working right now. One important thing to note is that these statistics here, they are calculated for the recent bars. They don't take into account all the bars in eternity of the 5-minute time frame for Bitcoin, because we don't believe there's any meaningful interpretation of this, because market conditions change so much. They are measured based on a certain look-back period. And how big this period is, you can see it by simply scrolling back. Eventually, the entry sequence will not be there anymore. And this is where your look-back period ends. Now you may wonder, well, maybe this is not enough for you. Maybe you should have looked a bit further back. Well, luckily, you can change this in the settings. So if I simply go back to the settings, and this works similarly on the other trading platforms, I can now simply say, okay, my look-back period should be maybe 2,000 bars. As soon as I do this, everything will recalculate. Yeah? And now I have the performance metrics for the last 2,000 bars. Or maybe this was too much for me. I want to go to 500 bars. I can do this too by simply changing this value in the look-back period. And all this we have built in for you to help you as a trader to understand better how well, in recent history, the indicator is working on the chart. And this will change from time frame to time frame, and it will change also from symbol to symbol. So for example, if I now go from Bitcoin to, I don't know, something completely different, let's say Apple. I go to Apple. Now the indicator is again on the chart, and I can see, well, with this configuration, it's actually not giving me good results. And maybe you come to the conclusion, well, perhaps I should not use SuperTrend Bulls Eye or SuperTrend in general for Apple on the 5-minute chart, or at least not in this configuration. Yeah. So this will allow you as a trader to make an informed trading decision, to help you decide whether you should take a signal, use a signal, or not use a signal. Okay. And one more thing. If you're trading equities, perhaps because your account is restricted or for whatever other reasons, you don't want to go short. You only want to take long trades. Or perhaps you have a bias for a signal. You did some fundamental research. You know that this symbol in the long run should go up. All right. Well, guess what? We have built in another feature into SuperTrend Bulls Eye, which allows you to indicate the trade direction. We call this trading constraint. By default, it is enabled for long and short trades, saying that the indicator will, give you long entries and short entries. And the statistics will be calculated based on that. But look now, I will change this to long only. And what this will do is it will still show you the short entries here, but you will not take these anymore. You will ignore them. And the statistics in the box here, they will be calculated for only long trades. So for only long trades, have we only traded long trades for Apple, our profit factor would have been 1.17. So if you have this bias, and if you know you're only gonna go long a certain symbol, you want to set your trading constraint accordingly. Yeah? And you can do the same thing for short only. Maybe you have a bias for shorts. Maybe perhaps for some commodities, these are gonna go down. Well, set your trading constraint to short only and look at these statistics. Okay. All right, so let me go back again to my slides. So these were the statistics. And as I mentioned, they look a bit differently from platform to platform, but the information that you can see is the same across platforms. All right, so next feature. We have also added a new trading style to SuperTrend. It's a go flat trading style. What does that mean? Well, as mentioned previously, the classic version of SuperTrend is stop and reverse. You're always in the market. You're either long or you're short. You're basically never flat. And what this also means is that you are always exposed. There's no periods where you actually can be flat because the indicator tells you, well, long, short, long, short, long, short. We have added a new trading style to overcome this limitation, which we call a go flat trading style. It will actually allow you to be flat at times. And we've accomplished this by adding a separate percent-based trailing stop to the indicator. It's independent of the trailing stop, which is built in. Okay. And now the way this trading system works, if you are using this trading style, is that entries are still triggered by SuperTrend signals. You can see this here. We had a short entry at this point, and we made the signal. But the exits are triggered by this trailing stop, the dotted one here. This is not the built-in trading stop in SuperTrend. It's the newly added stop. What can happen is that, we ended into a short trade at this point. We're short because we didn't hit the stop. It's our own stop loss. We would ignore all these signals, see this long signal, the short signal, and so forth, which are intrinsic to the classic SuperTrend. And we only get stopped out once this trailing stop is hit at this point. Once we're stopped out, we're not reversing, we're staying flat. We're staying flat up until a new entry signal of SuperTrend occurs. Then we're going long. So basically, this allows you to be flat at times as well. Now, again, you might ask, well, is this going to give me better trading results? Will the performance be better? Well, the answer is it depends. For some symbols, for some configurations of the trading stop, it will give you better results. And for other symbols, it may not. But luckily, with the statistics box, you now have some hard evidence when this is the case and when you should use this new trading style and the go flat trading style built into SuperTrend Bulls Eye. All right. Now, one more topic to be covered. And this is really the golden topic which I wanted to get to. We have, and this was only possible in recent years because of the increasing computing power, we have added a brand new feature to it, which is auto optimization. Now, what does that mean? Actually, before we came up with that, we're aiming very high and we're asking ourselves the question, well, how do we choose the best parameters for SuperTrend? How do we know which ATR period to use? How do we know which multiplier to use for a given symbol and time frame? Which are the best ones? Yeah. And the answer to this is, well, at least for some of us, it may say, well, I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to play around with the parameters. I'm not good at it. It's too tedious for me. I believe in one size fits all. I'm using the same settings for every symbol, for every time frame. I'm doing one size fits all. Well, this might be a good principle for certain things in life. I'm telling you, certainly not for trading. You always need to adapt to market conditions. One size fits all will not work. You can be lucky for some symbols, but I'm telling you, for most of them, you will not be. Okay, so this is not ideal. Maybe you could manually fiddle around with these settings. Try them out, play around, just what I did with the multiplier. See if a higher value is better or a lower value, or maybe the ATR period needs to be changed. And I can do this. And I can look at the statistics and see, okay, how well are these parameters performing? But you would have to do this for every single symbol and for every single time frame. And this is tedious. And our time is precious. And if something is tedious and boring, chances are you will not keep on doing it. It's just too much effort involved, and it is not sustainable from a trading point of view, from a time point of view. So not practical for us. Well, we have done something else. We have come up with a technology where the indicator will do all this for you. It will do the heavy lifting for you. That's amazing. We call this auto optimization. Auto optimization is where the indicator will automatically use the best parameters for you to either maximize the profit factor in your look back period or the tick P&L in your look back period. Yeah. And in fact, the parameters that will be optimized for SuperTrend are so you can imagine, the ATR period and the multiplier, but it will also optimize the trading mode for you, whether the classic stop and reverse should be used, or perhaps our new percent trailing stop mode should be used. But also tell you this. And if the percent trailing stop will be used, it will actually also optimize the trading percent distance for you. For a demonstration and a bit of my explanation, now I'm going to give the microphone to my colleague, Nicholas.
Okay, so SuperTrend Bulls Eye finds the best settings possible for SuperTrend on the chart when you have the indicator applied. And the way it does this is it has its own optimizer built in. And the way this optimizer works is it has a setting called the look back period, the look back in bars, and the layout of these settings will be slightly different depending on which trading platform you're using. But this look back setting determines the amount of bars back from the current bar that the optimizer actually looks at to find the best settings, the most profitable settings. So if you're looking back 500 bars, the look back on a platform, in this case, I'm going to use MotiveWave. If we were looking back 500 bars, the optimizer would be looking back somewhere like this distance to tell us, okay, these are the best settings, the most profitable settings for that segment of the chart. And what the optimizer does is over this period, it tests different combinations of the SuperTrend parameters. The multiplier, so how far the trailing stop is from price. The ATR period, so the volatility calculation, which determines the ATR period's distance. And the trailing stop percentage if you're using percent trailing mode. So it'll test different combinations of these settings and find and use the best one according to your optimization target. And you can either optimize to get a higher profit factor or a higher tick P&L. So here's how it actually tests the settings. For each parameter, the multiplier period and trailing stop percentage, you have a start, end, and increment value. So in this case, for the multiplier, the optimizer will start testing at 0.5 all the way to a value of 3 in increments of 0.5. So it'll test 0.5, multiplier equals 1, multiplier equals 1.5 to 2.5. And it'll do the same thing for the other settings. So it'll test all the ATR periods from 5 to 45 in increments of 5, which are 9 different possibilities. So in this case, if we were to optimize the trading style, so we're trying to test the percent trailing mode as well as the classic SuperTrend mode simultaneously, the optimizer would end up testing 6 combinations of the multiplier times 9 combinations of the ATR period, so 45, and then 6 times 9 times 4, 216. So in total, 270 different combinations that you didn't have to test manually to find the best, most profitable configuration. It's all done quickly in the blink of an eye. So sometimes you're going to get cases where the results don't look good, even though you're testing maybe upwards of 1,000 combinations. They don't look ideal. And a classic example of this is when you have a chart like this chart here in NinjaTrader. I'm on MongoDB, the stock MDB. And sometimes with SuperTrend, you'll see setups that look like this. So if we just get a quick zoom in on the chart, the chart's kind of flat and we're going long, then short, then long, then short. And realistically, if you had to take commissions or you didn't get the perfect entry, this would quickly rack up massive losses. Although in the ideal situation, you might look like you have a high profit factor. In real trading, you're not going to get perfect entries. You're going to have to pay commissions, and this kind of stuff isn't going to pan out. So you tend to want to have wider stops with SuperTrend to avoid getting stuck in these flat kind of up and down trades. So let me just hop back to the slides because we're going to talk about how you can solve that problem, because it's probably the most common problem you'll find with SuperTrend is your stop seems too tight. You have too many trades, too many reversals. And why this happens, the reason for it is that your multiplier is too low. So what you're going to want to do when the stops are too tight or it's too flat, your trades are just up and down, increase the multiplier range. Shift it to the right. So if we're starting from 0.5 going to 2, you're going to want to make that larger. This is too tight, 0.5. You're not giving it enough, the stop, enough distance from current price to be effective. So you might want to try something like from 1.5 to 5 or from 2 to 6. But you're going to want to shift it right. And if the opposite is happening, you have too few trades and your stop is too loose, which often will result in excess drawdown on your trades. Let me open up a chart here. MNQ on the 15-minute. So if I create an extremely large multiplier value, tone this down so I can calculate. Here. Then we end up with trades that look like this. And although this doesn't look too bad, if I increase the look back so we can see some more trades in the past, you end up with a lot of situations like this where you're really, there's a lot of drawdown on these trades. It's not so realistic that you would have stayed in until the trailing stop is hit. You don't want that. So if they're too wide, then shift these values to the left. Your multiplier start and your multiplier end. So that's probably the quickest way to get better trades with SuperTrend Bulls Eye and SuperTrend in general. And some other ways to improve your results are to just adjust the start, end, and increment values of the optimizer settings until you find better results. The more configurations you test, the higher there's a chance that you're going to find something extremely profitable or consistently profitable. The other thing you can do is switch trading approach. So you can go from classic SuperTrend to percent trailing, or you can also try out going from long and shorts to only long or only short. So maybe on some charts, let me just open up MotiveWave here. And this is really an important thing to consider, and that's why it's handy to have this setting, is let's say we are looking at this chart here, Mara in MotiveWave, and I can see that, all right, on the 15-minute chart, my profit factor is 2.18 or 1.23. Well, how do I know that I'm not just getting a very good long profit factor, but a terrible short one? I shouldn't even be trading short on this symbol in the first place. So you can change your trading constraint from long and short to long only. And by doing that, I found out, hey, actually, I'm losing on my long trades. My profit factor is 0.97 and I have a negative tick P&L. So in this scenario, it's actually my longs that are dragging down my results overall. If I only traded short, I would have had a profit factor of 1.59 and a higher chance of profiting over time in general. So when do you want, actually, let's cover one more thing here. If you can't do any of that, then change the symbol or time frame. It's just not working. If you're testing 1,000 configurations and SuperTrend's not working, you're increasing the look back, shortening it, then it's not you, it's the chart. You just need to change symbols and timeframes. So when should you use SuperTrend Bulls Eye? Well, one, when the statistics are good. So here we have a good profit factor, good tick P&L. Our profitability is decent, 71%. Well, on the long side, on the short side, it's 30%. But when the statistics are good, that's when you want to use this. There's no reason to use it when they're not good. Avoid that chart. Charts that make big moves and like to trend. So this chart, just by looking at it, you can tell it's got that roller coaster look to it, up and down, with lots of peaks and troughs. If the chart is flat and it doesn't have a lot of these, it's not going to be good for SuperTrend. It has trend in the name because it's a trend following indicator. And if there's no trends, it's just going to take bad trades. And next, use your scanner. So I'm going to show you a cool tool if you don't have an advanced scanner on your platform or you don't have access to a scanner. If you have a SuperTrend Bulls Eye for MotiveWave or NinjaTrader or platforms that have compatible scanner tools, then you can create a custom scan like I've done here. And now I can look through a basket of symbols from, let's say, the NASDAQ or the SPY, and I can rate them by their profit factor or by the amount of tick P&L the indicator has on that symbol in that time frame. So I can say, hey, on JP Morgan on the 15-minute, we have an 8.09 profit factor. I'm going to see how that looks on that chart. Maybe I'll trade it. So you can scan by profit factor, and you can also scan by profit factor and entry signal. So you only want to find symbols that have really high profit factors and they have a signal on the open bar or the last 10 bars or something like this. So that's extremely handy. But if you don't have one of these custom scanners available, you can use TradingView's free scanning tool. So on TradingView's free scanning tool and most free scanning tools, there are options for technicals. So you can filter by volume, you can filter by the percent change. And I'll actually open up the TradingView scanner right now on a free account. Or just know that it is possible to do this on a free account. It is a free tool. You just go to a chart and click the stock screener, click on stocks, and you can do all this same stuff. So all I've done here is I have come into the scanner, and just like I wrote here in the PowerPoint, you want to find stocks or symbols that have high average volume and high beta. Now, what beta is it means that the stock or security is extra volatile relative to the movements of the overall market. So if you have a high beta higher than 2.0, it kind of guarantees that there's going to be these types of big swingy trends that you can trade with SuperTrend frequently. And high average trade volume just reduces the risk that you have choppy action on your charts that isn't conducive to trends. So let's go back here to TradingView. So all you need to do is come down here and click on this filters button on the bottom right after you've opened up the stock screener on TradingView and type in beta. Enable this option called 1-year beta and say above 2. And by doing that, you can then filter by volume if you'd like. But now pretty much every symbol you click on in here, Fiverr, for example, let's take a look. Is this a bad example? I don't think I've filtered by volume here, 50 to 100. Let me go to a higher volume symbol. Roblox Corporation. Okay, here. So we have a nice trending type of chart where we do get these chances to go up and down. So those are the two top technicals, high volume and high beta, for good symbols to trade with SuperTrend. And Daniel, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Nicholas. That was awesome. I'm going to go through some questions now before we're actually going to tell you how to get this on steroids version of SuperTrend. So I'm going to take back the screen. So the first question that came in, Frank wants to know, can you share how the Go Flat trading style can be applied on a trading platform? I'm going to use TradingView to show it to you. So in here, this is already loaded up in this trading style. In the Go Flat trading style, actually, we're calling it a percent trailing across the platform. So Go Flat is like a nickname for it because it means at some point we can be completely flat. We're not always in the market. And when this is enabled, what you want to do, or in order to enable it, what you want to do is to first of all change the trading style in this drop down here to percent trailing. Okay. And there's one more thing, because by default, the just enable this real quick, how this would look like. By default in trading, but also on the other platforms, the classic stop loss of SuperTrend would also be shown. So this would be the default view, and will look quite confusing because you have these dotted lines and you have these ones here. This is not a good good visualization of the chart. And I would never have it like this, because when percent trailing is enabled, you don't really care about the stop loss, the built-in stop loss in SuperTrend anymore. It serves no purpose because we're not gonna use it as our exit criteria anymore. So what I like to do, I like to hide it. And the way to do it is to simply go to your settings and simply set the colors to transparent. So for the SuperTrend trailing stop for long trades, I put this to transparent, and I'll do the same thing for the SuperTrend trailing stop for short trades. And once they're transparent, they're hidden. Oh, guess I didn't use the other one. Just a second. Oh, trailing. Oh, this is because of this. Yeah, you also have to do it here for the real-time values. And once this is done, the stop loss will be hidden, I guess after a little while, and the visualization will be much clearer. I'm not sure why this is not hiding it, but it might be just I need to reload this chart. And just to prove my point, look at the profit factor here for percent trailing. It's actually very good. It's at 5.52. Of course, we only had 3 trades now, look back period, and they were all very profitable. So percent trailing mode can be a profitable mode to use. Okay, another question that came in was, can you show us some examples for the E-minis futures? And yes, of course. So as I'm switching over to Wave, and here we have a chart of the NASDAQ E-mini futures on the 5-minute time frame. And I'm running this in the regular classic SuperTrend mode. And we can see that in our look back period, we had 9 trades, a really good profit factor of 3.09 across. So yes, this SuperTrend Bulls Eye can work very nicely on the E-minis as well. Of course, what you would also want to do is perhaps maybe try different time frames. Let me go to the 15-minute time frame here. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, 3.95 profit factor. Perhaps one more. Maybe I go to the 1-hour time frame for the E-minis. Let's see what it is. And yeah, again, 3.52. So yeah, across the board, SuperTrend Bulls Eye can be dialed in very nicely to futures trading and for day trading purposes. Okay. And there was one more question that came in. Somebody wanted to know, what does the profit factor of 999.0 mean? And that's a very good question. Actually, that's a special value for the profit factor. And it occurs when there are no losing trades, only winners in the look back period. In theory, the profit factor in such a situation would be infinitely high. But since we can't display this on most trading platforms, we have to boil it down to an actual number. We defaulted it to 999. So whenever you see this profit factor, it means that in your look back period, all trades were winners. And conversely, I hope you never see this a lot. If you see a profit factor of 0, flat 0, it means that all trades in your look back period were losers. So hopefully you won't see this too often. All right, so now let me go back to my slides because I want to cover a little bit how you can get hold of our latest version of SuperTrend and how the different versions for the different platforms will look like. So how can you get SuperTrend on steroids? Well, we have boosted SuperTrend in 2 different ways. And this has to do with the capabilities of the actual trading platforms. So one version we have, and this is our prime version, is SuperTrend Bulls Eye. It comes with all the features which we have discussed today. And this version is available for TradingView, NinjaTrader, and Wave. All right, so it comes with, of course, the classic SuperTrend, as we have seen. It has the new reverse on touch mode, in addition to reverse on close. It comes with the real-time statistics. It comes with percent trading, the new trading style. It comes with auto optimization. So all these features that you have, and for NT8 and Motive Wave, you can also use the platform to scan for SuperTrend entry and exit signals using the optimized settings, which is really cool. For TradingView, there's no custom scanner available, and you would need to resort to finding the best symbols that the indicator will probably work well on using the approach that Nicola showed you, looking at the beta and the volume, and then look at entry signals manually. So for TradingView, the scanning is not available. And SuperTrend Bulls Eye, this version we retailed for $747, and probably it's going to be the last week where we have the lifetime access. I know I'm gonna say, oh man, Daniel's saying this every single week. Why? Where's the subscription model? Well, we're super close now. So we all set up and we're just waiting to roll it out and announce it to the world. So soon, and this is all gonna go away, the lifetime purchase, which we're not required to make any additional payments in the future, is going to go away, and it's going to be replaced by a subscription model. But if you want to get or take advantage of the lifetime, you can do this by going to this URL, tradingindicators.com/bulls, bulls for SuperTrend Bulls Eye, to get this version for TradingView, NinjaTrader of Motive with all the bells and whistles, which we have seen in this presentation. Now, if you are a TOS user, a Thinkorswim user, and I saw there was a question in the chat as well, how does it work on TOS? Well, TOS is a bit more restricted than TradingView and NinjaTrader and so forth. And for TOS, we offer a version called SuperTrend Performance. And there's a reason for that. So this SuperTrend Performance version entails, of course, the classic SuperTrend. It entails the reverse on touch mode, which we had discussed, and it comes with the real-time statistics. And you can also scan for entry signals using the TOS scanner. That's all possible. Unfortunately, and this is due to technical limitations of Thinkorswim, we cannot provide the optimization feature for Thinkorswim. Again, we'd love to do it. There's just no way to do it because TOS is quite restrictive when it comes to these kind of things. And unfortunately, the optimization feature can, as it stands right now, not provided for Thinkorswim. This is also the reason why this version is a bit cheaper, for $497 for the lifetime version of SuperTrend Performance, which is only available for Thinkorswim. And if you want to take advantage of this or try it out, go to tradingindicators.com/performance. All right, so this is how you can get a hold of our two indicators. And let me just have a look if there are any other questions.
There's one more question, Daniel. I don't know if you already answered it, and I missed it. Is there a list of known symbols that work well today, or on a day in general?
No, we don't have a compiled list like this, and but as you can see, the futures work really nicely currently on all lower time frames. This has to do with current market conditions. So things have been trending nicely on the lower time frames in a sustained manner. So these work well. Bitcoin on the larger time frames, amazing currently. But things change, and the best you can do is to either use the scanner if you're on NT8, NinjaTrader 8, or Motive, if you can scan for symbols which have really high profit factors. So you can get an updated list every time you run the scan, which is preferably, or you just go through a couple of charts and see what the statistics say, and make sure the optimization mode is on, so you always get the optimized statistics. Are there any other questions?
Wilfred Brockman?
Yes.
This is an update to version 2.4.1. Is that correct, Daniel?
I'm not sure for version 2.4.1. It depends on which platform you're on, Wilfred. Maybe send me an email and I'll check if there's a slight update available. It will not have any new features, but perhaps there was a visualization change, or perhaps a bug fix that was released in the meantime. Oh, this reminds me, one more thing. If you go for the lifetime version, either for SuperTrend Bulls Eye, for TradingView, NinjaTrader, and Motive Wave, this will include all future bug fixes and updates. So if you make a change, if we add a new feature, you will get this for free as a lifetime member. And the same for the Think or Swim version for SuperTrend Performance. It will also include future updates. And I saw in the chat that there were a couple of technical questions whether the NT8 version is compatible with Bloodhound, which is an add-on for NT8. Please send me an email and I will get back to you by email. And this holds true for any questions that there may be. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time. Many of the features I have shown today, they were driven by your feedback. So if you have any feedback, please let us know. We always listen to our users, and oftentimes our users have amazing ideas and great ideas. I'm telling you, reverse on touch, for example, came straight from user feedback. And the user told me, well, Daniel, I want to submit this as a broker order. What can I do? Can you have something like reverse on touch? Well, we listened and we integrated it into our latest version of SuperTrend Bulls Eye and SuperTrend Performance. All right, so if you have questions, go to tradingindicators.com and there's a contact field. Reach out to us and we're always happy to hear from you. All right, so this concludes today's Tech Talk. Thank you so much for attending. I know your time is precious, so thank you so much for spending your evening or your morning with us. And we're looking forward to the next Tech Talk. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.